Why have both of you agreed? I've been after both of you men for a long time to get you in front of a camera to talk about this ugly chapter. What made you finally decide to talk?
Well, I don't like to remember it because it was good times, but the way he died was a very painful part of my life. I don't like to remember it. Maybe it will inspire some of these young people to learn about Malcolm, find out what he was trying to do, and to continue to struggle, because that's, in my view, that's the best thing they can do to help themselves in this mess over here, to learn the strict discipline he had, the toughness of mind, not to be taken off by all of the negative attractiveness of this society, the drugs, this noise that people call disco, and all of the other deceptions that you find in this country. These kids have really got to, the ones that are still capable of doing it, really begin to turn themselves around and look inward for inner strength, because there's nothing outside. The strength comes from inside, and it comes from understanding who you are and what you're about.
Somebody might say, why would you focus so strong on this man? You know, was he the only hope, really?
Well,
Is it possible that all of this hope could reside within one soul?
My knowledge of the history of human beings is from time to time, rare people are born, like Genghis Khan, Gandhi. There are people that stand out in history, like Akhenaten in ancient Egypt, and they seem to personify all of the hopes and aspirations of a whole nation of people. You see it appears in one being. And when that person appears all around them, they have to support him because he can't do it alone. Like all of these people had to support Gandhi, or India would still be a colony. And they killed him too.
And that's where you place Malcolm.
Oh man, he was a historic figure. He was a holy man. That's one of the reasons he's not alive today. If he hadn't been so pure and kept us and a lot of other people that way, we probably could have kept him long. We could have kept him alive longer, maybe not forever. We could have done it. But we were never allowed to touch anybody, unless in defense. Other than that. And these other people I told you about that offered to assist him, he would not permit it. He was really a holy man. He was too clean to be kept alive in this country. Couldn't do it.
How do you feel, Bob?
I think Earl has echoed my sentiments. I think that the reason why I decided to come here now is because it's time. You see, young black people out there are looking for leadership. They're looking for motivation, some kind of inspiration. And it's up to us to provide that for them, to let them know that the only solution to the black problem is not to force yourself on somebody else, to stop begging and knocking at the door and chasing white people all over the globe. It's time to stop and reassess your own values as a human being, and to set proper goals, to learn organization, to learn research techniques, to look at organizations, to organize to solve your own problems.
Is there some way in which, in understanding his life and death, it'll be of help to us today?
What they have to understand, well, Americans, people in this country in general, are known for not knowing very much about the past. They have to understand, especially this young generation, that a lot of these people with their MBAs and their sports cars and their corporate vice presidencies, they have to know that they're not there just because of the way they wear their clothes or the way they part their hair. Somebody paved the way for them to get there, and that they owe some debts, and that they have a responsibility to history to do something else other than just check cashers every week. They have a role to play. They have a people to serve. And unless they do that, as George Santayana said, people who don't understand the lessons of history are doomed to repeat them. And there were a group of people in Europe a few years ago who thought they were just other Germans. They thought they were super Germans. Unfortunately for them, that wasn't so. And you got a lot of people, a lot of our younger people coming out of these schools and going into these corporations. They think they're just another corporate figure. Well, that's not so. No way. That's not so. They're only there because somebody paved the way, and like those kids down in the South, that church that was blown up. They were like preachers down there were trying to get people to register to vote that were killed. Dr. King being killed. Medgar Evers. All this younger generation need to have it burned into their brain how they got where they are, and that the road was not easy, and that they are not in heaven. That's one of their main problems. They think they're in heaven now, but they're not. They're still here. They got a long ways to go, and there's this book entitled The Choice. There's an article in there where he talks about a study in 1970 by the U.S. Navy. What would be the attitude of white people in this country if black folks were beginning to be systematically suppressed like the Jews in Germany? And the study pointed out that most white people wouldn't care. I mean, that's a horrifying thought for me. I mean, really, really disturbing that anybody would even think to conduct a study like that in this country is scary. But that was the conclusion of it. If they started rounding up black folks and started making them disappear from the city, most people wouldn't care. They wouldn't care. That's what the study said, that they wouldn't care.
Do you anticipate running into anybody close to this caliber man in the rest of your life on the planet?
It only happens once in a while. Like we had a Toussaint down there in Haiti. We had some of the Santihinis over there in Ghana. We had a John Fitzgerald Kennedy. You look in Washington today and there's no replacement for him. These people only happen every now and then. And that's interesting. You had a young white man and a young black man who tried to make the kind of changes that this country needs, and they were both eliminated. Then you had the man of peace was eliminated. So that tells you that the people who run this show don't plan on making any changes anyway.
Do you think there's a connection between those assassinations and the people who run this show, as you say?
Absolutely.
Do you regret your years with Malcolm?
Not a single day. Not 1 second. None of the brothers do. It was the best thing ever happened to us.
What was it about him that made you willing to lay down your life for him?
Well, for one thing, he was honest. He never lied. If he ever said anything to you, you could bet on it. And he was sincere in what he was trying to do. And I guess I really never thought about things like that. We didn't take time out to think about things like that. Mm-hmm. We had something to do, so we did it. With just a few of us, Luke, Mother, myself, Brother John, Brother Ivory.
What is it that hurts you so when you talk about those days? Oh.
It was a chance to really be somebody. Black males to mature. It allows them to grow up physically, but not to mature mentally, intellectually, and spiritually. And Malcolm gave black men that chance in this country.